Why expressing what we need in a relationship doesn't bring us what we want. This video is for you if you've ever wondered why when you tell somebody, hey, this thing really hurts me, or you try to establish a boundary, why that you don't get what it is that you want and you are left feeling unheard, not sure how to express yourself, unvalued, not cared for. I want to share with you why this happens and what to do about it. The reason this happens then is when we are expressing a boundary or a need in some way that we are expecting the other person to fill for us, essentially, because that's what's going on. You're saying, hey, this thing isn't right that you are doing. I need it to change in order for me to be happy. And if that person cares about you, why is it then when you express your need that the other person doesn't, can't, or refuses, or seems to refuse to show up for you in the way that you need? Let me tell you what's going on. They might respond in this way. This is what usually happens when somebody does care about you. When somebody cares about you, they will tell you, hey, I wasn't doing that, or they will give you some sort of response. And they might also try to say, I will do better, I hear you, I understand. When you're in a mature, committed relationship of any description, they will most of the time, yes, it's something really emotionally triggering for them, in which case they might not reply and they might have to take space and silence for themselves to figure it out, and that's okay too. It's very healthy for somebody to go and take space for themselves, to go and figure out what it is that they need in order to be able to bring that to you. But usually what happens is somebody will say, I will try to help you here. I will try to do better. I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere. They'll make some verbal attempt, whether in text or face-to-face, in terms of expressing they would like to give you what it is that you need to receive. But the change doesn't happen. And this is why you're left feeling frustrated, unheard, and uncared for. It's not that that person doesn't care about you, doesn't want to support you, and doesn't hear you. And what's going on here is that by expressing, I have this need and I need you to fulfill it, and expecting them to be able to give that to you, you're asking them to change who they are being. While they might want to do that because they can see it's hurting you, expressing what you need doesn't change who they are at a foundational level. And the reason the behavior doesn't change is because they are not changing what they believe, what they have learned, conditioned beliefs, conditioned behaviors, and overriding their ego. That's a lot to ask of somebody, right? If you think about it, you're saying, can you change who you are at a fundamental level? For me, what you're really doing when you say, hey, you're not giving me this, you're not giving me that, I need this, I don't feel heard, I need this, I need that. What's actually going on is that you're seeing somebody else in lack. You're saying who you are being is not good enough for me, and you're expecting somebody else to change for you. Let me just flip that around a minute. If someone said to you, hey, I need you to change for me, I need you to be different, I need you to not work so much, I need you to not work your 9-to-5 job because it hurts me, I don't see you as much, I need you to not spend so much time with your kids. Obviously, these are extreme examples, but they're reflective of the same underlying attribute that you're asking of somebody else to change. You're asking them to change who they are. You have to ask, really, what is it I'm trying to receive here? Because usually it's nothing to do with them. It's a need within yourself that needs addressing. You don't need anybody to change for you. And what do we need to do to fix it then? There's two things I want to share with you. Really feminine and your partner is a masculine, you have to understand that he hears you, but he's a true man in his strength, in his masculine energy, is not going to take you saying to him, hey, I need you to change for me. Well, he is going to say, I hear your emotions, I hear your feelings, but I'm here for you with all the qualities that you actually need, which are presence, stability, consistency, communication, whatever it is that you need at a core level. But if you have to ask yourself, what am I really needing here? And how can I provide that for myself? How can I really give myself address my underlying emotional need here? And if it's connection, where can I see this person is showing up for me with their version of connection? And is that enough? Because of course we get what we focus on. If you're focusing on lack, you're going to get more lack. If you're focusing on positive and the good, that's what you're going to get back. So what I want you to do here, these two things. Number one, have a look at where you're not meeting your own underlying emotional needs first before you bring it to that person. Because most of the time, we have an underlying emotional need, and expecting somebody else to fulfill that for us first before we take care of that is where we are asking almost the impossible. Nothing is impossible. You can have anything, anybody can change for you, but they're not going to do it simply because you demand or expect or request it, right? That needs to come from within them. And I'm going to tell you about how to do that, which is number 2. Only thing that is needed if you want to see a shift in your relationship dynamics, if you want to see a change in how somebody shows up for you, is faith. That's literally it. Faith and a different belief, and taking care of your own needs in that way. Because when you change who you are and you change who you are being in the world, that person cannot fail to show up differently. It wouldn't make sense, right? It would be like putting a lipstick on and looking in the mirror and expecting to see your face without the lipstick on. How would that happen? It wouldn't. You change yourself, the reflection changes. And it's the same, because the outer reality is always a creation and projection of what's in here. If you change who you are being and you step out with the belief and absolute faith and trust that you always get what you want, you always receive what you want, you're deserving and worthy of what you want, those things will change. You don't need to do anything. And that doesn't mean stepping out with ego or entitlement or, well, I deserve this and you're not giving it to me, so that's that. It's none of that. It's just simply asking yourself, actually, how can I show more gratitude for what I'm already receiving? How can I show appreciation for your consistency, for your presence, for your strength, for your problem-solving ability? Do you think, like, if you change that side of you, that person is more likely to want to step up for you in the ways that you need? Of course. And how do you think it feels to them when you're coming at them as if they are in lack in some way? Is that going to make them want to be more for you? Hey, you're not good enough. They're not going to go away and say, which is the underlying thought here, right? It's, I'm not receiving enough, you're not good enough. And really it's because we're not taking care of ourselves enough. And that projection will never inspire somebody to go away and give you more. How would that ever work? Well, they hear you on a 3D level and they might want to take care of you in that way. It doesn't change their underlying beliefs and behaviors. And that's what's needed in order to create that shift. But in order to create that shift, you have to address your own underlying beliefs and behaviors, which means, number 1, taking care of your own emotional needs by identifying it, recognizing it, and doing whatever you need to do to shift that. And the second thing then is showing really deep gratitude at a core level for everything you are receiving. That means you're changing who you are being. You are noticing and focusing on all the good. Of course, that person then will have to change in accordance with that. We're so used to spotting the negative. We're so used to living in lack that we feel we are valid and justified in telling somebody else, hey, you're not giving me enough. Hey, you're not doing enough. We can take care of that ourselves, and when we do that, it gives them the freedom to want to be there for us more, because we're so living in this space of in-depth gratitude and appreciation for everything in our lives, including them. Of course, it inspires them to want to step up and give you everything you need.